This is 757 Saturday Sports Talk with Matt Hatfield and Coach Ed Young on ESPN Radio 94.1.
It's time now for our Legends of Sports update here on ESPN Radio 94.1. Matt Hatfield here with you, and at this time joined by a special guest. Played for the Dallas Cowboys where he won Super Bowl 12. We're talking about the 1978 Pro Bowler Thomas Hollywood Henderson, brought to us by our friend Coach Charles Hatcher, the Norview Living Legend Sports Inside and Out. Go check out the podcast, sportsinsideandout.com. Coach Hatcher, Thomas Hollywood Henderson, thank you so much. Coach Hatcher, we got a special one from back in the day, the old era.
I'm happy to bring him, man, and as always, we're gonna keep seeing the news they can use down there for you, Matt.
Well, we appreciate it greatly. Thomas, it's a pleasure to have you on. How's life treating you?
Well, life is treating me well. I'm 67 years old, and I've been clean and sober more than half of my life now. I live a life of recovery. I've been clean and sober for 37 years, and I can tell anybody out there who's struggling with any alcohol or drugs that, it works if you work it. And if you decide to quit, it's a good life.
Well, I want to get to your remarkable story of recovery and being sober that you hit on here in just a little bit. But let's start off with the beginnings for you, the humble beginnings. And you have, in the last 20 years, also been inducted into a couple of Hall of Fames, Langston University's Athletic Hall of Fame and the Black College Football Hall of Fame. Going the NAIA route, not a big-time school, not one of these Power 5 programs that's, in the limelight. How much did that help kind of mold and shape you for your playing career at the professional level?
Well, I was a late bloomer as a kid, so it was my senior year in high school. I couldn't play my junior year, but in my senior year in high school, I got the looks from Barry Switzer at Oklahoma, but I had Vietnam hanging over my head. I had graduating from high school hanging over my head, and I came an inch from going to Vietnam. I ended up a walk-on at Langston University in Langston, Oklahoma, and I got there on a Tuesday, and I was in the starting lineup by Saturday, and we were in Kentucky, playing Kentucky State, and that started my career as a player. I had a very successful college career, consensus All-America, AP Little All-America, and the Dallas Cowboys took a shot on me in 1975 in the first round.
Well, going back to that, part of that first-round selection, 18th overall, Hollywood, in that Dirty Dozen draft, if you will, as a rookie, you were kind of known for making some plays on special teams. Had that reverse handoff, 97-yard kickoff return for a touchdown against the St. Louis Cardinals, blocked a punt against the New York Jets. How much did doing those things on special teams really enable you to get on the field even more and become that playmaker that you ended up being for the team in that Super Bowl run?
Yeah, playing for the Dallas Cowboys, you have to wait your turn. So Dave Edwards was the starting strong side linebacker. D.D. Lewis was on the weak side. Leroy Jordan was in the middle. That's how old I am, okay? And so my first year, there was no shot because I didn't understand what Tom Landry was trying to show me. And my second year, we had Cal Peterson that sort of came in, and then Bob Brunig was a third-round pick, and he paid more attention to the books than I did. Because, first of all, I want you to know, I was a freaky, crazy football player. I just wanted to line up and let's go. I did not pay attention to the books, and I'm glad I didn't, because I don't like to play by the book. I like to play on my instinct. But it was in my third year that I became a starter with the Dallas Cowboys, and then I understood what Coach Landry was trying to teach me, and it was choreography, to use a word that's probably never used in football. But it was like a waltz with 11 people. Mm-hmm. And once I understood that, then I could put my flavor on it. By my third year, I was a starting lineup and won the Super Bowl. So I really don't have any milk to cry in about my career. When you're chosen to the Pro Bowl, that means your peers pick you in the Pro Bowl. The press picks the All-Pro and things like that. So I had a great career in football. And only played 7 years, but I'm glad. You know, when you get 67 years old, you're sort of glad you didn't play another 7 or 8 years. You know, I can brush my teeth and tie my shoes, and I can reach down and pick up the newspaper. I can get a box off the shelf. I see people who played 14, 15 years, and they're not doing so good.
Yeah, those 15, 20 years would be putting a hurting on you. Wouldn't be able to do some of those things. We're talking with the Dallas Cowboys great Thomas Hollywood Henderson here on our Legends of Sports update, brought to us by the living legend, Coach Charles Hatcher of Norview High School fame, here on 757 Saturday Sports Talk on ESPN Radio 94.1. Go check out everything Coach Hatcher and his crew are doing at sportsinsideandout.com with the podcast and all the conversations in depth with the legends. And that great nickname, Thomas, Hollywood, certainly with kind of your swagger that you brought was how you got it. Tell us, looking back on it, like the nickname at the time, not so much these days. Kind of take me through the whole nickname and the moniker, which has stuck with you to this day.
Yeah, not so much now. You know, my friends call me Thomas. You know, we played in Super Bowl 10. We lost that game, and I met a pretty entertainer with the Pointer Sisters, and I started dating Anita. And I went to Hollywood, California. I went to the Playboy Mansion. I was hanging out with the Temptations and Richard Pryor, Hugh Hefner. So when I came back to Dallas, I had a fur coat on. And Robert Newhouse looked at me one day in the locker room and says, "Oh, so you Hollywood now?" And that's kind of where it began. Yeah, it was, you know, that whole persona was, number one, you know, if I could have kept my head together and kept my life together, it was a pretty good brand. You know, guys have done a lot better job with it these days than I did, because all I did was drink and drug and act a fool and nearly end my own life. So as smart as it was, as lucky as it was that I got a brand, you know, there's a price to pay for that, because I stayed in that character, and that character started drinking. And that character was smoking, and that character was using cocaine. That character, you know, lost his mind. But then Thomas Henderson was the human being that had to carry this moniker of silliness and addiction. And so, you know, I eventually crashed and burned.
You know, Lawrence Taylor, who's regarded as one of the best ever on defense, he said that he was inspired to wear 56 because it was your number. I mean, you were looked up to as a role model. I mean, I imagine that had to be some of the things as you were going through dark times that kept you going and inspired you, but at the same time, the off-the-field life, that was starting to take its toll.
Well, yeah. I played football as a very, very serious matter. You can't coach somebody's fearless. You can't coach fearless. So I'm a fearless football player. Take all comers. What you got? Who are you?
Well, and looking at that, Thomas, you talked about being fearless. At what point did the fear enter you as far as the off-the-field habits that, my gosh, this might not end real well for me?
You know, I wish I would have had some fear of normality. I didn't have any of that either. You know, my off-the-field activities were, you know, if somebody tells you the 70s wasn't fun, they wasn't there. So there was way too much going on for this boy from Austin.
Talking with Thomas Hollywood Henderson, Dallas Cowboys fame, 1978 Pro Bowler, two-time NAIA All-American who helped the Cowboys capture Super Bowl 12. It's 757 Saturday Sports Talk here on ESPN Radio 94.1, our Legends of Sports segment with Coach Charles Hatcher, bringing it to us from Norview High School, sportsinsideandout.com. Winning the lottery in Texas. How about that? I mean, you win, $28 million I see reported in 2000, and then to be able to help lives with that, that's got to be a real blessing for you, right?
Well, you know, okay, you win $28 million. You know, I took the cash option back in those days, 20 years ago. So I ended up with $14.4 million. Then you take a 39% off of that, you end up with about $9 million cash. And that's what I did. I didn't want those people in my business for 20 years. And so I'm still a millionaire. I'm still giving. My life is good. all of the craziness in my life was done in a blackout. I don't remember 82 or 83. I don't remember it. And when you start, lighting your crack with 151 rum and then drinking the 151 rum after you're done smoking, you don't remember much. And so thus was my life. So for 37 years, I've become the man, that I think I wanted to be. I'm a grandfather. I'm a father of 2 daughters. I'm the oldest brother of about 13 kids. That's after I found my father's kids. So I am still, giving in my community. There's still a football stadium and a track for the kids in East Austin, Texas. And so, there were some dark days. And I'm actually glad that I don't remember the dark days. But it keeps everything else in balance. That old hymnal, there have been some good days, there have been some bad days, but I won't complain.
A couple more for you, and I'll let you run, and Coach Hatcher can jump in here as well, and greatly appreciate the time here. Tom Landry, there's so many revered coaches in the sport of professional football's history when you think of the likes of the Vince Lombardis and the Papa Bear Hallases and the Bill Parcellses, the Joe Gibbs, the Bill Belichick now, and I'm forgetting a number of great coaches. But Tom Landry is right there among the greatest coaches in the history of professional football. What did he mean to you, and what did he mean to the Dallas Cowboys franchise looking back on it now?
And I don't say this lightly, he was the greatest coach I've ever had. He was a scientist. He was a disciplinarian. He was a no-nonsense guy. He knew football. I'll tell you a quick story. He didn't coach me very much. But the one day that he did coach me, I was a rookie, and here comes Roger Staubach and Blaine Nye and Ralph Neely and Rayfield Wright and Roger Staubach, and it was overwhelming. And they came to training camp because we rookies had already been there a couple of weeks. So here come the veterans. And so maybe the third or fourth day, they line up on goal line. And Landry, came over and said, Henderson, come here. He says, now listen, if the play goes that way, I want you to go through that gap. And if it goes that way, I want you to key the back and the guard. If it goes that way, I want you to go inside there. Well, they snapped and went away from me. I went through this hole, and I killed the guy with my, just helmet to helmet with a full back, destroyed him. And I sort of went back to Coach Landry like a kid, and I go, like that? And he shook his head in affirmation. He goes, yeah, like that. And from that moment on, Tom Landry trusted me as a football player. And I was on every one of his goal line stances. But, so I can't say anything negative about Tom Landry because he treated me good, but he didn't understand my addiction. But I'm going to say this for the record. Mm-hmm. I'm probably the only guy on planet Earth who played for Tom Landry, Bill Walsh, Bum Phillips, and Don Shula.
That's 4 great ones right there. You could write a book on those 4, I imagine.
I think so.
Yeah. Last 2 for you. And again, thank you so much for the time here. Do you follow much of, we know it's been some rough years here for this Dallas Cowboys franchise lately. Do you follow much of the current Cowboys?
Well, I'm always a Cowboy fan.
Okay.
But, the defensive scheme that they're running is like it's dangerous for linebackers. Let me explain.
Yeah, what way?
So when you play 5 linemen and 2 linebackers, these guys are 230, 240 now. They get leaned on a lot by 300-pound guys. And so it's the Dallas Cowboys scheme is a linebacking death zone. Thomas, as crazy and as good as I am as a football player, I could play that scheme, but I would be hurt a lot. Because my little 220-pound ass can't handle 300-pound guys over and over and over and over again. So I don't like the two linebacker set. I know they're playing a lot of flag football now. You know, here comes a flanker, you know, running full speed and gets the ball, and there's no edge. You know, there's no edge. There's no edge to protect. So sometimes it looks like flag football to me. Sometimes it looks like a game that I don't know that I could have played. Some say my speed would have helped. I really don't like it. It's more of an offensive game now. They want to score. They want touchdowns. You know, I'm still one of those guys that was 3 yards in a cloud of dust and let's do it again. So the game is different. It's faster. And I told a friend of mine I don't think I could play it. He argued with me, so I'm glad he did. It helped my ego.
Well, that's great to hear. Final one for me. Thomas, as we embark on this new calendar year of 2021, and it was a very challenging 2020 on a variety of fronts with the pandemic of COVID-19 and the social unrest in our country and people fighting mental health and depression all over the world. We know about the alcoholism and so many different things all over America. What would you tell them, because you are an inspiration to so many people, being sober for over 30 years, people fighting all kinds of challenges in their life? What would you tell them as they go into a new year and kind of give them that sense of purpose and motivation, if you can, for our listeners?
Yeah, I would simply say, hold on. Just hold on one day at a time. You know, there's nothing you can do about next month. There's nothing you can do about last month. You can take care right now. And if you do that one day at a time, just handle what you can handle. Be safe. Don't be stupid. Don't argue. Don't argue about a pandemic. Don't tell me about CO2 coming back if you wear a mask. If you don't want to wear a mask for yourself, wear your mask for your neighbor, for the stranger. And I know you wouldn't do anything to hurt people you love, but love everybody. This is a very tough time. I don't recognize these times for us, so it's very challenging. Now, if you had a drinking issue or problem, or if you drank, I know that it's probably been elevated. And I want to tell you something. I've been sober 37 years. This past November was my 37th year. I don't need alcohol to do anything. And so, whether it's marijuana, opioids, pills, you say your shoulder hurts. Come on. You know, your shoulder doesn't hurt like that. Your back. Come on. You know that that's not right. So whether it's alcohol, whether it's pills, or whether it's your foot, your knee, your ankle, there's pain and then there's discomfort. But like the company Purdue, that was distributing all of these opioids, like OxyContin, it has a time release mechanism. So I understand how you could be hooked on it and addicted to it. But being sober, you can handle anything. Being high, being drunk or high, that doesn't help anything. So my word is, I believe that sobriety is an option for all of us, because some of us tried it and liked it and stayed with it too long. I did. But a clean and sober life, you know, I woke up this morning, I went to bed sober. That's one of the things I'll leave you with. You know, the nights I'm able to go to bed sober, well, miraculously, I wake up sober. That's what I'll leave.
Some excellent food for thought there, Coach Hatcher, from a Super Bowl champion who dazzled on the gridiron and still making a contribution in all walks of life off the field.
Very, very fortunate to be able to bring that type of content and structure and individualism to an avenue back in my home state of Virginia. And I do credit it a lot to you, Matt, and being put in our lives for a reason there for the Virginia region to bring this type of messaging to the fan constituency, all those great sports fans in the Hampton Road 7000 beyond era. Thanks a lot for letting us be the voice of the legends of sports too. A young man that appreciates and has a great future in the business as well, such as yourself. We'll continue to bring the greatest of the greats to you, and I'm going to do everything I can to have the type of messaging and content of things that you need to hear and not want to hear.
Thank Thank you, gentlemen. It was a real pleasure and treat, and a Happy New Year to you all here in 2021. Be blessed. That's former Dallas Cowboys Super Bowl champion Thomas Hollywood Henderson, along with our pal Coach Charles Hatcher, the Norview Living legend from Sports Inside and Out, right here on 757 Saturday Sports Talk, exclusively in Hampton Roads on ESPN Radio 94.1.
This is 757 Saturday Sports Talk with Matt Hatfield and Coach Ed Young on ESPN Radio 94.1.
Back here on 757 Saturday Sports Talk on ESPN Radio 94.1, powered by Larry King Law. If you're injured in an accident, you call 757-INJURED for Larry King. LarryKingLaw.com is the website for more details. With the Coach Ed Young, Matt Hatfield here with you, and Kyle Hightower other side of the glass. And it is time now to play. We haven't done this in about a month, maybe a little longer than that. Buy or sell, as we will buy or sell some questions, hard-hitting questions in the world of sports. Sometimes they have 757 flavors. Sometimes they don't. College football on the docket today, as well as a couple other sports. And Kyle Hightower brings us the buy or sell. Get the coins out, Ed. Get the coins out.
All right, so the first one, the most combined points scored in the college football national championship game came in 2016 when Alabama and Clemson totaled 85 points in a 45-40 Crimson Tide victory. Will that number be surpassed on Monday night?
I guess we'll give our official picks now for this, and we'll do the NFL picks, the next segment in the league where they play for pay. Ed, you want to go first, or let me go first on this? Will it be surpassed the total of 85? That's a lot of points. If you're wondering, for all you people that like to put shekels down, the over-under is 75, and the Crimson Tide. They call Alabama the Crimson Tide. We got to play that. We talked about that on our video show.
Both teams are averaging over 40, aren't they?
They're high-powered offenses, indeed.
I don't think it's going to go.
You don't?
No, I don't. I'm thinking 38-30.
Which would put you under, by the way, too.
Would be under.
Who's your winner?
Bama, the winner.
All right, 38-30 for you. I'm going to go 42-34. Aren't I a tricky dog? I'm right there on the over-under and the spread, which would put me over 75, but I'm with you. I would say we would both sell this and not buy this on the 85 points. Yeah. Even though conventional wisdom might be this is going to be up and down the field, no stopping. What do you think, Kyle? You got a score pick on this game, or are you saving?
Yeah, I'm going to say it's a track meet, and Ohio State wins 49-45.
Wow, so then you would take the over there. There you go. Look at you, bold. 49-45. Justin Fields. I'm gonna reach out to Justin and see if he'll come on if they win that game. He probably won't remember me from 4 years ago, but anyhow. All right, buy or sell. What's the next one? We both sell that, but Kyle will buy it.
All right, speaking of Alabama, Heisman Trophy winner Devontae Smith's 84-yard punt return for a score at Arkansas on December 12th marked Alabama's 79th non-offensive touchdown of the Nick Saban era and 4th of the season. Will the Crimson Tide score a non-offensive touchdown against the Buckeyes on Monday night?
Think about that, Ed. 79 non-offensive touchdowns. We say he's been here a long time, since 2007. That's a lot of non-offensive touchdowns going back 14 years. That's crazy. So will they get one? I'm going to say, I'm going to go, I want to buy this, but I'm going to sell this. I don't know that if Ohio State turns it over or has a special teams breakdown, I'm not sure it's going to result in a score. So I'm going to sell this. I'm not going to buy it.
Buying it 100%.
You're buying it. So what's the score? Go ahead. For all those prop shekel people out there. Prop shekel people. That's a weird phrase. But anyway.
I think Bama runs a touch. You can advance a fumble in college football.
You can, yes.
Okay, fumble going in.
I thought you were going to pick Devontae Smith another kickoff punt return because he's electric there.
I don't see that happening.
All right, we'll put a bottle of water on it because I can't drink sodas anymore. For those who don't know, I'm on a diet now. So there you go.
And he's lost some pounds, people.
8.8. How about that, Kyle?
Old Matt Hatfield is starting to fade.
I am. So what's next on buy or sell?
All right, up next. Texas recently dismissed head coach Tom Herman, who was 32-18 as the head football coach and won all 4 of his bowl games with the Longhorns. Are you buying or selling that new head coach Steve Sarkisian will win as many bowl games or get Texas to the college football playoff during his tenure there?
Okay, so Ed, it's one of two choices. Will he win at least 4 bowl games, which is what Herman did, or will he get to the college football playoff at some point?
He's going to get one of those two.
So you're going to buy it?
Yeah, I buy it. He's definitely going to get 4 bowl wins.
I'm not buying anything so far. I am selling it. I don't think they're getting to the playoff, and I don't think that they're going to win that many bowl games under him. I could see them getting to 6 or 7 bowl games under him, but he might go like 3-4, 2-5 in the bowl games. Because I think they will be close to the playoff, but they won't quite get there.
Well,
unless they expand the playoffs, in which case I do think Texas will get there. Now, I would put that little asterisk there on that.
Here's the key. Herman has got the program on track, winning. So Sarkisian's going to come in and basically keep it going and hopefully bring in those type of people. He's not taking an 0-10 team and having to start from scratch. So that's why I think, they can win the bowls. Now, getting in and winning a national title, Texas expects that every year, but it's been a while. And Alabama, Ohio State, Clemson, they're going to stay up there for a while.
I'm with you on that for sure. Well, we don't have any 757 guys on the football team at Texas, but we do on the basketball team at Texas.
Matt Coleman?
That's right. He's our next one.
Yep, Norfolk native and former Maury High standout Matt Coleman leads the Texas Longhorns basketball team that's currently 9-1 overall in scoring at 13.7 points per game. That's less than a full point ahead of Courtney Ramey, 13.3, and Andrew Jones, 13.1. Will Coleman be the leading scorer for a Texas team that gets a number 1 seed for the NCAA tournament this year?
So it's really two things there. Is he going to stay the leading scorer, and will Texas get a 1 seed for March Madness? Or will it be a little bit of sadness and not a 1 seed, although they can still get to the Final Four? It's going to be hard to win the Big 12, too, because you have Baylor right there who's as good as anybody. Kansas has had some struggles, but they're still Kansas. And they got David McCormick, another Norfolk native, on their roster.
Selling that 100%.
Selling it?
Coleman
really?
is a playmaker. He's going to drop in points and go up in assists.
Why can't you do both?
And no way possible Texas gets a number 1 seed in the NCAA tournament.
I am going to buy this. I think they are, because here's why. Gonzaga's getting one for sure. That's a lockeroonie. I think Baylor will get one. I think Villanova gets one. Who's the other number 1 seed at this point? Because the Big Ten, they're very good in the Big Ten, but all of them beat up on each other. Iowa, Wisconsin's my Final Four pick. The ACC doesn't have a 1 seed this year. I'm sorry, folks. There's not a 1 seed that you're going to sniff at the ACC this year. Who is the other 1 seed? So I'm buying it. I think Texas Shaka Smart has saved his job. And I think Coleman will stay there. It's going to be close with Ramey and Jones. But see, they have so many weapons that he's kind of a stabilizing force, balls in his hands all the time. So his assists will go up, but I think his scoring will stay steady. And they're going to have about 5-6 guys right there around 9 to 13 points. So I am buying this. Kyle, who's the other 1 seed? I mean, tell me.
You said you don't
Gonzaga?
think Iowa.
No, I got Gonzaga, I got Villanova, Baylor, and Texas. There's your 1 seeds. You heard it right here today on January 9th.
I'll say Texas falls back. I guess I'll go chalk and put Kansas in there.
Oh, no way. If Texas
maybe Michigan's undefeated.
That's a surprise with Juwan Howard, who
I
didn't think
the other number
well.
one, a number 1 seed is going to come from
not the ACC. It's not
ACC,
happening. No,
Big
it's
10,
not. Give
Big
me the
10,
ACC team.
ACC, Big 10, and
have you seen how bad the ACC this is? And I write for the ACC Sports Journal, so I'm not supposed to say that, but I said it.
A number 1 seed is going to come. I'm not saying from each of those conferences, but both those conferences combined are going to send a number 1 seed. Write it down.
I'll give you the Big Ten, but I'd like to know who the team is. And he gave you Michigan, but I have more faith in Texas than I do Michigan.
I picked Iowa at the beginning of the year.
And I'm not all in. I think they'll get a 2 or 3 seed. All right, what's our last one as we continue to argue that?
All right, last one is with the recent additions of Carlos Carrasco and Francisco Lindor, are you ready to buy the Mets to win the NL East Division crown?
I found this interesting. I looked this up today. The Mets have never won back-to-back division titles. Back-to-back. They got to get 1 before they can get 2. And I think now, by the way, Kyle Schwarber's going to the Nats. Just happened a little while ago. The Braves are still very, very good. I think the Mets are much improved, but I am not ready to buy them as the NL East Division champ just yet. So I'm going to sell this.
I'm begrudgingly going to sell it too. They've definitely improved. If they can get all their pitching back, and Carrasco's going to go from a number 1 to a number 3. That's pretty doggone good. Lindor, one of the best in the business. They gave up basically nothing to get both those guys. I still think they're going to sign somebody else.
They gave up some prospects now. They didn't give up nothing. Come on, it's not nothing.
Rosario might start. The younger shortstop, Jimenez, maybe. The 2 jokers they got out of the minor leagues.
Jokers? Jeez.
Or the Riddlers, I forget who they got, whoever it is. If you can name them right now without
listening, you just lost 2 families listening to the show.
You can name them 2 guys right now without looking.
I can't.
Thank you very much.
I can't even do it with looking.
Thank you very much.
I don't know. So
I think Washington, Braves, Phillies are better than the Mets.
Wow, you're putting them fourth? No, that's just some. That's spoken like a true Yankee fan, isn't it, Kyle? That's spoken like a true Yankee fan.
Did I indirectly get mad because my let me say
they're not fourth?
What the heck are the Yankees doing? Where is DJ? You didn't get Lindor. They signed a couple Jovies from the minor leagues from these other teams.
Jovies and Jokers.
What are they doing? Yankees? What are you doing?
You got to put them at least at the very, very lowest third,
the
not
Mets,
fourth.
The Mets, no, they're in contention for number one right now. Today, I'm not going to say.
You just put them fourth, though.
No, but I'm saying Phillies are good, Nats are good, Braves are good. Let me rephrase it because I know you're taping it.
All the
Phillies,
Mets fans
Braves,
out there, Dave Howe, the Henningers, Mr. Timmons, they're all hating you now.
No, they
should. Jerry DeVender, he hates you too.
It's going to be a great race, and I hope the Mets win. I hope it's the Yankees and the Mets in a World Series. Absolutely.
Then we know who you want to win. All right, that'll do it for buy or sell. Ed actually bought two things, and I bought one.
Remember,
thing.
I'm using a credit card because I got no change.
I got debit. All right, we'll come back with the NFL picks, and we'll give you Dino's dog. He won't be able to join us live, but we'll give you his woof woof dog coming your way right here on your home for NFL playoff action and so much more. It's ESPN Radio 94.1.
This is 757 Saturday Sports Talk with Matt Hatfield and Coach Ed Young on ESPN Radio 94.1.
And every episode of 757 Saturday Sports Talk, as we move the calendar from 2020 to 2021, is brought to you by Larry King Law. If you're injured in an accident, you call 757-INJURED for Larry King. With the Coach Ed Young, I am Matt Hatfield. We got Kyle Hightower sitting in today for Mr. Dino Franza, who we will tell you his underdog pick in just a moment. But to give you a recap of the regular season standings, because I know Kyle is so curious to see how these standings finished up. Against the spread, which I was miserable last year against Kyle. When I'm playing you, Ed, and Dino, it's not as hard. More so you, because Dino's just picking a dog. 28-18-2 for me against the point spread there, and our pick three selections using the over-unders in there as well. That was going into last week. So I finished up 31-18-2 as I swept it last week. Very, very healthy. 13 games above the 500 mark. So I finished up at 63.3%. You, my friend, Ed, you went a nice 2-1 last week with the Bucs and Saints winning, but you lost on Seattle covering. So you go 2-1 to finish 23-28 for the year. I won't give you the percentage because that's not too great. Dino had won 5 in a row to get over the 500 border mark at 9-7, but lost on the Chiefs last week. I had the Chargers, by the way. We went oppo, Dino and me, for the first time all year, and I got the job done, even though Ed said it'd be a 14-point guarantee for the Chiefs without Mahomes. I don't know what you were smoking, but nonetheless, the record for Dino is 9-8, but we wiped the slate clean. It's the postseason, and this is where Ed usually steps up his game. So let's fire it up for the NFL pick three selections, and we'll let Kyle join the party as well. Actually, it's not going to be pick three. We're going to pick three for each conference today. We're just going to pick them all here before we sign off, and we've got you covered. ESPN Radio 94.1, sister station, everything with all the playoff action. So keep a listen out as you...
We'll go Kyle, you, me, and then you, me, Kyle, and then me, Kyle, you.
I can't keep up with all that. So Kyle goes first here. You just tell us who goes
first.
All right, first game up, 105 CBS. It's Colts at the Bills. The line is 6.5 for Indianapolis as a dog here against the Bills. The total is currently at 50.5. And by the way, there's a 757 connection to every one of these playoff games. I want to give it to you. But Kyle, what do you like here? Colts at the Bills. Can Phillip Rivers squash the demons and pull the upset here?
Well, you know how last year was the Titans were the surprise of the playoffs? I think this year it's the Colts. I think they're going deep, so I'm taking them easy plus 6.5. I think Phil Rivers, this one last ride, he's going to end up, I'd say, at least bringing them to the AFC Championship game.
Woo, that's bold. And by the way, the connection, if you're wondering, you got Zach Pascal of Old Dominion fame catching passes left and right from Phillip Rivers. He's had a very good year. You got Mo Ali Cox, by the way, of VCU fame, formerly Virginia Preps Classic fame as well. And a career high in catches and yards for Pascal, 44 for 629. I'm thinking a lot like you here, Kyle, but you go next, Ed, right? So Kyle's going to call it the upset.
Kyle, then you.
Oh, me, okay. Kyle's going with the outright upset. I don't have the Colts winning the game. I have them covering the 6.5. I'm going to go with Buffalo 24-21, but I think it's good value here with the Colts as a live underdog. Remember, they are top 3 in the league in takeaways on the defensive side of the football, so I feel like they can get 1 or 2 from Josh Allen, as great as he is playing. Jonathan Taylor led all rookies in rushing yards. So Bills 24-21, but I'll take the Colts plus the 6.5. Ed?
Bills 26-21.
So you're still taking the Colts with the 6.5 there, right?
I think they'll cover, but I think Bills win.
All right, so there you have it. So who's next? What's our order for the next game, which is a
game,
4:40 Fox, Rams, and Seahawks?
It's Matt, me, Kyle.
All right, Matt, Ed, Kyle. It's the Rams and the Seahawks, 4:40 on Fox with Buck Aikman and Aaron Andrews on the call. On Westwood, it'll be Ryan Ratke and Mike Holmgren. You have, what's the 757 connection in this game? Well, Russell Wilson went to collegiate high school in Richmond. You say, Matt, that's 804. But his grandfather, who once was on our show, the late, great Dr. Harrison Wilson, president of Norfolk State University, he was one of the more interesting guests we've ever had. I'll just leave it at that.
And Russell played in the area. So
there you go. Seahawks coming into this game, here's what I would tell you. Seattle has won 10 straight home playoff games. If it's, to use one of Ed's phrases, that other dude versus Russell Wilson wins. If it's Jared Goff with a good thumb, Russell Wilson wins. If it's Jared Goff with a bad thumb, Russell Wilson wins. By the way, the other quarterback is John Wolford. I hate to disrespect him like that, but hey, he's got to earn his stripes here. If he wins this game, he will get my respect as Mr. John Wolford, the first and only. But I'm going with Seattle, 28-14, covering the 3. It's a lock-a-rooney, by the way. My best play of the week. End. Seattle. Star play.
Give me Seattle. What was your score?
28-14. So go ahead and pick like 26-14 like you did the last game and copy it or something.
Give me 20-20 Seattle.
Oh, so you're going with the Rams winning the point spread there.
Yes.
All right. Late drive to win or something there? Okay.
Late drive, yeah.
Kyle, what do you like there, Rams and Seahawks?
I am going to say the Seahawks win and they cover. I think they win by. I think it'll either be a late cover or it's going to be between 4 to 7 points. I think it's going to be close, but I think they cover.
Tell you what, if the Rams had to play a team that wasn't as messed up as the Cardinals last week to get in, they might not have done so. But we know Aaron Donald's a menace on defense. By the way, real quick note on Donald. Most sacks in 7 seasons since 1982. Reggie White is 1. DeMarcus Ware is 2. Aaron Donald is 3, ahead of Derek Thomas and Von Miller. All right, the game a lot of people around Hampton Roads are waiting for. It'll be on NBC. Mike Tirico, Tony Dungy on the call with Kevin Harlan and Jaws on Westwood 1 there for you. Bucks at the Washington football team. It's Taylor Heineke, not Tyler Heineke, Adam Schefter. It's not Tyler Heineken.
Right.
It's Taylor Heineke, ODU's great quarterback. He may get the start. We shall see if it's him or Alex Smith. Game is fascinating on a lot of levels. Chase Young, the DeMatha product, who played Oscar Smith a few years ago. We watched that game. I want Tom. Mr. Brady has got 12 touchdowns versus 1 intercept the last 4 games. Meanwhile, Alex Smith has 14 touchdowns, 2 picks, and 7 playoff starts. Who knows what's going to happen? Ed, you go first, right, for this one?
Yeah, I know. I don't want to disrespect the football team. The defense is good. They've come on, overcome some stories this year. Rivera, whatever, and Smith coming back. But I just think Bucks are better, period. I think the defense is a little underrated. Offense is not underrated. I go 30-21 Tampa Bay.
30-21, which gives you just a smidge cover of the 8.5. All right, who's next? Kyle?
Kyle goes next.
All right, Bucks in Washington. Who you got?
Yeah, I've got I've got Washington covering, but the Buccaneers winning.
All right, there you have it. I'm going Tampa 23-13. Covering the 8.5, as Ed mentioned, they are allowing the fewest rush yards per game in the league, tied for 4th in sacks. Very, very tough. By the way, they only had 1 player selected their Pro Bowl. You know who that is for Tampa Bay? Jason Pierre-Paul, the only guy selected their Pro Bowl. Meanwhile, for Washington, they broke a trend here. You know what that was? The drought's over. Brandon Scherf, the offensive lineman, first All-Pro for Washington since Matt Turk, the punter, back in 1996. It had been 26 years since they had an All-Pro. Give me Bucks 23, Washington 13. They covered the 8.5, but my star play is under 45. I like the under in this game. I think it'll be low scoring until about late 4th quarter when both get a score late, but they'll still keep it under the total. All right, AFC, 1 o'clock, ESPN, ABC for Ravens and Titans. The local flavor, by the way, you got one and only Chuck Clark, Kings Fork High School on defense for the Ravens. Who goes first for this one, Ed?
Kyle goes up.
All right, who you got it, Kyle?
All right, so I still really like the Titans, kind of like last year. I think they make a deep run as well. I think they win this game outright, so I'm going to easily take them with the +3, but I think Titans win this one outright.
There you go, Kyle, with the upset. By the way, for upsets, Dino's dog, woof woof, he's going with the Rams to beat Seattle. So he's going opposite me again on a big upset special. There is Dino's dog, woof woof. He's going with the Rams over Seattle for his upset play. Ed, who you like here, Ravens and Titans? Keep in mind the road team has won the last 4 playoff encounters, the only 4 playoff encounters between these two franchises.
Baltimore sputtered here at the end. Tennessee's been fairly consistent. I'm just not big on Tennessee. Henry's the best running back right now in football. But I'm going Ravens. I'm going to pick the score the experts did. 31-24 Ravens.
Which will put you just over to 54.5, which is my star play. Take the over on that one. I'm torn on this game. I'm worried about the Ravens' offensive line. Meanwhile, the Titans' defense, in 3 of the last 4 games, they go 41 to Cleveland, 40 to Green Bay, 38 to Houston. I just don't have faith in Vrabel's defense. I think it's a shootout. Last team with the ball wins, and this time Lamar Jackson gets a winning drive at the end. Baltimore 34-28. They cover to 3, but I would not be surprised if Tennessee takes it. Your 4:40 game, CBS tomorrow, Bears and Saints. What's the connection? Ronald Curry, the great Hampton High grad. He's an assistant coach for the Saints at home against the Bears, laying 10. Who's up first?
You.
Me, I got the Saints in this one easily. 35-17 over Chicago. I just don't trust Mitch Trubisky against Drew Brees, who has the 6th most touchdown passes in playoff history behind Brady, Montana, Favre, Peyton Manning, and Aaron Rodgers. Who's next?
I'm up, and I'm taking New Orleans 30-17.
Ooh, you cover as well. Kyle, do you make it a trifecta sweep here?
And what was the spread again?
10.
10, okay. I actually have the Bears in this one. Not to win it, but I think they cover it. It's not too often in playoff games we see blowouts. I think these teams are going to bring their best. And Mitch Trubisky and Matt Nagy's finally started to use Mitch Trubisky the way that he should be used. So I think they at least keep it close. I don't think they win. I think the Saints end up winning, but the Bears keep it within about a touchdown.
Your last game on NBC tomorrow night, it's going to be Collinsworth and Michaels on the call for Browns at Steelers. Pittsburgh a 6-point favorite as Mike Tomlin, the Denby High grad, William & Mary product, takes Pittsburgh against this beaten, battered Browns team. What do you think, guys?
I go Pittsburgh 24-17.
So they cover it barely. I agree. I got it 31-20. Pittsburgh to lay to 6 and win. Kyle, what do you got?
Yeah, I think Juju jinxed the Steelers again by saying, it's the same old Browns, same old Browns. So I'm going with the Browns to get the upset win here.
Ooh, Cleveland might be celebrating despite all the injury issues and no Stefanski. So those are the picks for the NFL Super Wild Card Weekend, and that does it for 757 Saturday Sports Talk. We thank all the callers, tweeters, and listeners out there, as well as Thomas Hollywood Henderson and our friend Coach Charles Hatcher. For Kyle Hightower, great job by you. And to Coach Ed Young, I'm Matt Hatfield. We'll talk to you next week. And check it out, the podcast, if you missed it, on VirginiaPreps.com, ESPN Radio 941.com. Until next time, thanks for listening on your home for sports, ESPN Radio 94.1.